Yeah, great.
Whoa, this ain't going.
See down the side, and
But I appreciate everybody on the chat tonight for your comments. Well, welcome to the Bee Connection. It's Thursday night again, and the bees are still buzzing. Got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of personal stuff to talk to y'all about tonight, and a lot of bee stuff to talk to you about that I'm very excited about. So just let you know, up here we've been getting tons of rain. There's somebody down below me that's getting washed away also. But it's barely been raining up here on the mountain, and it's been unreal. I've been making some splits for fall. I've been putting these new queens that I grafted inside, so that's been quite fun. Now I've got to feed these new colonies. So really want to get these nukes over through winter. So that's my game plan. So we made 15 of those today, actually. Worked in the bee yard quite a bit. So anyway, lots of work there. Still got honey to pull from some of the hives here at the house, some of the basswood. And then we have some hives on top of Bulldog, Tennessee that has some sourwood. So, it's honey season, right? So hopefully you guys are all, extracting your honey right now. I did see Paul from Hell's Hive, seen his Facebook page that he was doing honey. So it's an exciting time of the year. It's a lot of work. And, I just talked to Melissa and Tom. They did a cutout, and they'll talk to you about that in a few minutes. So they were drowned in honey. So sometimes honey for a cutout's not much fun. I'll let you know that for sure. But a couple other things I want to talk to you about since, we're kind of getting started here is I've switched shifts. I'm actually going to work third shift for a month. And this is for a friend of mine that is having some problems. So I've decided I'll switch shifts with him. So you're going to see me on here for an hour tonight, and then I'm going to jump off, and I've got to go to work. So I appreciate you guys. But when it comes to helping friends, I'm going to do what it takes. So we won't be with you the whole entire time. So I'll let Tom and Melissa, when I come to them here in a second, talk to you about the Seidel thing that's going on. Or JW, any one of them there wants to talk about that. And then the Bee Expo coming up. Just to let everybody know, there's a possibility that we might not be there.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. So we've missed going to the beach with my family for 3 years now. And we've been to Mexico every year. So we're thinking for Christmas we might go to Mexico. So we may miss the Bee Expo. Now that's not been finalized, but that's something that we might do. So just be aware that that's a possibility. So if it does, I'm going to miss everybody. It's gonna be rough. So, but anyway, let's swing it over to Tom and Melissa. If you just want to talk about the cutout, the Seidel stuff, any of that, you're right ahead.
So, well, let's start with Slidell because that's not happening anymore. It got canceled, which is really disappointing because it was really a great conference last year. It was just small. There was like 200 people there. They had some great vendors, and it was just Jeff Brown is his name, right? Him and his family did a really good job with that conference. So I'm not really sure what the reasons are that they said. The email said something about industry support.
Lack of
industry support. So I don't know if that means he didn't sell enough tickets, or because he had some really good speakers lined up. So I'm not really sure. Yeah, I'm not really sure what that means, because like I said, he had some really good speakers lined up, but really upset that one's not going to be happening, because I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's the whole group getting together. I was going to bug Lee, give him a hard time, and I was going to stay with you guys. It was going to be great. I was really looking forward to it. So
JW was coming. I mean,
JW, yeah, he was staying with us. So
I will say though, I was very thankful that they canceled it when they did, because I had reserved that Verbo house for all of us.
Yep.
And the date to not get 100% refund was today.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was thankful that they canceled it when they did. And they refunded that money the very next day that they announced it was canceled. So
nice.
The tickets that we had bought for the conference. So that, it's all on the up and up. Hopefully he is able to put it back together next year, but upset that's not happening. As far as today, we were in a sticky mess today. We did a cutout today. Tom we literally just walked in the house before we went live. Tom just walked out of the shower. I'm going to leave here and go take a shower because I am sticky from head to toe. It was a mess.
Yep, it was a mess.
How is that, Tom? Explain to me how it feels to be cutting honey out, and as you're going across, it's just raining all over your suit. It's coming on your chest, and there's nothing you can do to get out of the way.
No, that was kind of one of these situations. And, just like I tell every customer, I'm like, this is what I think that I'm going to find, but I can't see into a wall. I can't see what I can't see. And I can use thermal imaging to look at things and help understand, a little bit better. But even if that's being hidden by a big blanket of honey, sometimes that can be skewed as well.
Our son's getting ready to turn a vacuum on. Hey. We're like, no, not right now.
Hey, they want to clean the house. Come on, Mom.
He must have spilled something. Quick, go, do it now, fast.
Hey, Ricky, I'm going to mute myself. Why don't you take over for a minute? We'll come back to it.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. So Cajun's asking, going to have the B conference in Pineville, Louisiana in August, I think. Is that right, Lee? You heard that?
Yeah, that's our Louisiana State B conference.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Lee, tell us how the weather has been going down there for you and how everything's rolling.
I've been crazy here the past couple of days. We've been getting rain every day. I think we've only made it through work all day, one day this week. Other than that, we've rained out early just about every day, or we have rained out early every day, some a little earlier than others. But just the rain, it's nonstop. I've been trying to do stuff in the office, so it's got me behind. The bees, when it's not raining, they're trying to get out and fly, but they might have 30 minutes and they flying back for the box again. And I hadn't been able to get out there to even cut my grass or anything lately because of the rain so much. Everything's staying wet. I said by the time it does stop raining and I'm able to cut it, it's going to be chest high. And generally, I try to cut my grass on most times twice a week. And it is just bothering me that I can't get to it right now.
So is this normal rain for you guys, Lee? Because to me, I don't think of your area getting that much rain unless there's tropical season.
Not really. I'd say earlier in the year, Tom had asked me because we was getting a bunch of rain, and he asked, was that normal for that time of year? I said, well, we're not really getting a whole lot of rain, but the rain that we are getting is coming down hard and a lot of wind in it. So it was kind of knocking some of our flowers and everything out. But now this time of year, it's not so much that it's raining hard or blowing hard. It's just raining every day. It might be a light drizzle and it might be a decent little shower. But it seems right now we getting more than normal, I would think.
And I agree with DC here. He's talking about it's El Nino this year, and seems to change the weather pattern quite a bit. And even in Mexico, when we was down there, we seen rain down there. It was like 2 months early, and they've been getting rain ever since. And that's very unusual for them to get rain that early. So it's pretty interesting. And Jonathan, you asked, did I get any grafts going? Yes, I sure did, sir. I actually got 7 queens, and those got in the boxes, and hopefully we will see what they produce coming up. And I also did some, I call it sneaky grafting. I actually stuck some frames, just regular frames, in the box that I wanted to raise queens from, took the queen out, and then just cut queen cells off and threw them in boxes also. So cheated just a little bit, but I had to get these nukes started now for the fall. So that's why we did that. What's going on in your world, Spanky?
Oh, not too much. Just woke up and tired. Yeah, it's been raining.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, the rain's been unreal. It's just been hammering down. So you've been working on a little project that we're working for Florida State. Is that not correct?
Who is it? I don't remember who it was. Who did you say it was?
Yeah, I think it's University of Florida's who it is. So
Yeah.
they've contacted us, want us to make a rotating hive for them, and then they wanted a display. So Spanky, with his 3D printing, he's working on a small miniature rotating hive with the same thing. So we're pretty excited to get those items to them also.
You guys talking about rain. I got 3/4 of an inch in about 15 minutes, about 2 hours ago.
Wow.
Buckets fell just in a short period of time.
That's about how we are. I was having trouble seeing getting home today. It was raining so hard.
Mm.
Now at work, we didn't get no rain, but about the last 45 minutes of our shift, they did call a lightning alert. So we went to the break area. And if it wouldn't have been for being the end of the day, we would have left early. But they said, hey, it's the end of the day. Y'all go ahead and stay and get your time.
Yeah, Lee, that picture you showed us, I guess you was kind of driving home, man. You couldn't even see out the windshield, dude. That rain was coming down so hard.
And that's where it was at my place this afternoon there.
Hey, JW, since we can't have this conference down there in Louisiana, maybe we just come down to one of your places and hang out and go crappie fishing or something.
I can do that. I'll come to Alabama. I'll take you over to the lake.
Hey, I'll take it.
JW, I think the rain that you got had moved through the St. Louis area, because when I had stopped to go get a few materials this afternoon, I want to say maybe about 2:30, 3 o'clock, it started dumping on us for about maybe 10 to 15 minutes, I guess.
This looked on the radar like it was just a pop-up shower, Tom. I'm not saying yay or nay, but when I picked it up, it wasn't very big. A mile south of me, when I came into town, there wasn't any. It hadn't even rained.
Yeah.
But I had 3 inches or 3/4 of an inch in my gauge there, and it all came in 15, 20 minutes at the most. It just poured. I was wringing wet anyway. I'd been in bees all day and trying to get everything caught up. So I was wet. It didn't make me any wetter than what I already was. So.
Give you a little cool down.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciated it. It cooled me down quite a lot.
We've been needing some cooler weather down here. I mean, mid and upper 90s. Even in the Crane, the AC was having trouble keeping up on some days.
I tell you, Dave, you was talking about tornadoes there. I came home the other day and pulled up and actually had a beech tree to fall on some of my hives. I meant to send that picture to Lee and I forgot to send it, but fell on some of my vertical hives. It kind of knocked them over just a little bit. But what was strange that day was the only day it didn't rain, and the beech nuts on the tree had gotten so heavy it actually snapped the limb off the tree. And it's pretty good sized limb had fell off. So that really surprised me. So Tom, how was your cutout with all that honey? You started talking about it and you got kind of off of it.
Yeah. So, everyone is a little bit different, right? There's no two that are the same. This one was done from the inside. It was a really nice home in just a suburb of St. Louis. And the home is a partial split level. They're part of it is it's kind of a ranch and part of it's split level. Well, when you walk down the stairs to go down to the basement portion of the split level, it was in the ceiling of the house. They were getting in through, and I've seen this before where they put brick up and the baseboard touches. There's about a 1/4 inch gap in there, and that's where they were getting in. And there was 2 spaces in there that were not huge, but it was packed full. And when I opened it up and looked in there, I was kind of knocking on the ceiling to figure out where some of the floor joists were at, listening for the dead spots and the hollow spots. And there's one area I came in and it was just dense as can be. And I knew that's where the heat signature was at. And I knew that was going to be full of honey, but I didn't realize that it was going to be they packed out one area in there so tight that you just had to rip some comb out from the bottom going up. And there was so much honey in there, it just started dripping. So luckily we put down painter's drop cloths, and we also put down a tarp, like a plastic tarp underneath where we work directly. And then we have drop cloths that go to the nearest exit on the house to do like washouts and clean outs and things like that. So it was kind of, it was challenging, and it was a lot of honey in there. And again, when you're working overhead, I was hoping to be done early today because we were supposed to take off and head down to the lake here this evening. We're going to try to maybe do the live from the road, but and I didn't think it was going to take me that long to do, but there was a lot of bees. It was a tight space. The lighting was not great. I forgot one of my work lights, and it just took really long to get done. It was great, really appreciative. We got it all done, and we sealed up that space and re-insulated it, so all was well. But like you said, I needed that. I forgot my work light. I got everything else, but I tried to leave it to where I put drop cloth plastic up to the nearest window. That way, when the bees come out of there, they'll fly straight to the light. And I try not to make the light in the room the center of attention, so that if they go to the window, I can vacuum them off the window very easily. So, I don't want bees roaming around somebody's house. You don't want someone to step on it late at night, things like that. But so we try to be very, very clean about what it is that we do, and that takes a little bit of time. But when it's really messy and you've got those challenges, it makes it really fun. And again, I really wanted to take off this evening for Southern Missouri so we can go to the lake, but I think we may have to hang out here this evening. So anyway, I get to hang out with all you fine folks.
You talking about stepping on a bee later or anything if they get loose? Usually, if you can't get them all vacuumed up, they're going to end up dying somewhere in the house, and you're going to step on or have to sweep them later. The worst sting I've ever had by a bee was by a dead bee.
Yep.
Trying to grab a box or something and it stuck in between them. To me, I guess when they die, they just get so much stiffer. And when that stinger pops your finger, it hurts worse than them when they're alive and just sitting there drilling in you or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people don't realize that a dead bee can still sting, but it can.
Sure can. Yeah. Especially when you do cutouts, and if Tom, sometimes you get dead bees in the honey that your comb that you got, and you'll, try to crush that honey down, and there'll be a dead bee stuck in it. And they say, no, it's stung you because it's in that comb. And to me, it doesn't swell up quite as bad, but it still stings you basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or when you're reaching your hand up inside of a dark hole and going feel to pull some honey out and you don't think there's that many bees up there, you're trying to slowly work your hand up, because I don't go barehanded, but I use the real thin nitrile style gloves.
Yep.
So you can still have dexterity, but you don't have to have all that sticky mess right all over your hands. It's kind of like a good buffer. But I'll tell you what, the bee will sting right through that glove. And I take stings all the time in the fingers from that. I mean, it is what it is. I guess it's the hazards of the job. But
so what kind of gloves are you using? Are you using a really thick meal neoprene glove, or is it a thin? Or because I got some one time that just kept falling apart. I'll never buy those again. And they were supposed to be a thicker meal.
Okay, these are not super thin. I would say maybe like a medium. I honestly, without looking at the box, I don't remember how many mils thick they are. Almost like maybe if you see in mechanics gloves, how they have the disposable mechanics gloves, how they're just a little bit thicker than the really cheap ones. It's kind of like that. But again, you still have really good dexterity through them, because that's what Melissa and I work the hives all the time. That way I can pull them off. The thing that stinks is, your hands get so sweaty inside of them that sweat will just drip out of there. When you take them off, it's like you just poured water out of it.
Exactly.
But at least there you can keep a lot of propolis and stickiness out of your vehicle when you're driving to the next bee yard or what have you. Just take them off and go put on a new pair.
Yeah. Rodney's got a question for you, Tom. He says, why didn't you cut the rim joist to get them out from the outside?
Yeah, so there are times that I do remove them from the outside, and sometimes it's easier, but it's a lot cheaper for me to replace drywall for a customer than it is the siding. And this actually had a cedar siding that was on the outside, and it was not in good shape. So if I started to pull it off of there, I was likely going to destroy it and crack it. And I didn't want to have anything to do with that. So when I look at it from a time aspect and cost, it was cheaper to go from the inside, even though I have to be much more cleanly on the inside of the house. I always kind of assess it and look at it as far as, what's easier and more cost effective, because I really am not trying to charge somebody, a ton of money to do it. I want to be really cost effective when I'm doing something and be a good steward of what it is that I'm doing and take care of their home, because I don't want to leave anything undone. About the only thing
Melissa said something about you guys couldn't go through the floor either because they had hard wood floors for the top, correct?
Yeah. Sometimes if there's carpet, that's easy. I can go there and just pull the carpet back, unless it's not usually dead center of the floor, right? It's usually along the outside edges of the wall or where the band board or rim joist, are at. So they're not usually dead center of the house. So you can pull the carpet back, and it's easy to work from up top. And I'd prefer to do that rather than working over my head, because I can just pull the carpet back, take my saw, cut through the subflooring, pull the nails pulled out of place, and do my clean out and such. And then put it all back together, put the carpet back down, stretch it back into the corner, and all as well.
It's kind of nice to pull up all the comb at one time and work it, and that queen's not going to run away from you, right? She's probably still there, so it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So again, it really depends on the type of extraction that I'm actually doing.
Hey, J-Dub, we got to go up there and give Tom and Melissa a hard time on a cutout sometime. That would be pretty cool.
Well, I would think it'd be a little easier to lift that comb out of that floor space than it is to try to have it fall on your heads too. Be a lot
I had
easier.
never heard of that, Rodney. That's a pretty cool idea. The honey helps the sting go away. That could be a possibility, because usually my hands are nasty when we do cutouts. So JW, have you done any cutouts? Have you ever tried any of that kind of work?
Oh yeah, I try not to anymore. Most of my stuff, when they call me, it's usually in a tree that's been cut. The power company, it'll be in town. There'll be a swarm in it or a hive in it. And the last one I did, boy, it was in a 5 foot across white oak tree. And they went to cut it up so they could move it and cut right into the colony. I've got a video out on it. I don't know if I ever posted it or not, you know.
Hmm.
It was,
Yeah. You need to
Quite
post
an
that so we
ordeal.
can see your work.
it's, I don't do them anymore unless it has to be a close friend or someone that's, you know, if they call me anymore, I just decline, respectfully decline.
Yeah.
It's just too
Well,
much work to most of it.
It's a lot of work. People don't realize how much a cutout work is. I mean, you do get the bees, and most of the time you do get the honey, but the job can be really hard. And like Tom has said, and even us, we try not to charge a whole lot because, you know, anybody that's willing to save the bees that are in their house, I'm going to try to bend over backwards to help them out a little bit. So sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. The last job we did with the chimney, that's something we had never done before. That was a hard job.
I've got a nephew in Oklahoma. He averages one a day. That's how busy he stays in the summer months. He's booked up for the rest of the summer, and every day he pretty well does a cutout just about every day. So,
What are these cotton liners? I've
ma'am,
never seen these cotton liners.
They asked about the type of gloves that we use. Do you know how many mils thick they are?
I thought they're 8. I'll go grab a box real quick.
he's talking about gloves.
Liners, where do you get those? I don't know what those look like.
It's the one that,
No, cotton gloves.
well, that's what,
There's
He's
like a-
talking about gloves, Ricky. I'm not a glove man, but I've got a couple of friends that use them, and they tell me that the best gloves that they could come up with is these chemical gloves. You know, like the farm stores if you got some farm stores in your area that carry them, they say they're so much better than this. You know, this 1 mil stuff or the stuff that you get from Amazon. There's no comparison.
Melissa's used dish gloves before.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're 8 mil. There's a glare.
yeah.
There, right there.
I think that's what we used right there. Yeah.
And I know my hero, Mr. Burns, David Burns, he uses them all the time. He uses the chemical gloves. So,
Yeah, the dish gloves work really well too. It's just I just use the cheap ones from Walmart. They're about $1.50 a piece, but I can only use them like 2 or 3 times before I can't stand the smell anymore. It's like when the boys played hockey, it's like their hockey equipment smells so bad.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'd never let them bring their hockey stuff in the house. I'm like, leave it in the garage. If I smell that in here, I'm throwing it out in the back.
I'll have to look for the cotton liners.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't heard of, is the cotton liners that Grammy's talking about there. That's a pretty cool idea. I never thought about doing that. So maybe we're going to have to try that.
So using those gloves, I got the idea from watching Bruce's videos, but I didn't want to use black gloves because I thought that would, attract the bee, have a negative effect with the bees. I don't seem to have any issue with those green ones.
I don't remember how thick they are, but I just bought like the regular medical gloves off of Amazon, and they're kind of like a purplish blue color.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess like any other latex glove, they're going to get a little warm, but they're not really that bad. And the bees didn't seem to have a problem with them. I've never been stung through them.
Everybody keeps talking about these cotton liners. I didn't know nothing about this. This is, Larry's saying it's a lifesaver. So man, maybe someone find me a link, post it up here. I want to see it. So I got to get some of these things ordered. So
Some of them gloves have the powder in them.
Right.
The ones I use at work's got the powder in them,
yeah.
and I don't sweat using them.
Well, it'd have to have a pound of powder in them for the way we sweat in these things.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've worn them for a good while, and they don't sweat. We get them some Granger.
Did you say Granger?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I've worn them for a good while, and my hand not be sweating.
Well, while I'm working tonight, I'm going to be looking at some of those hand liners. Tom can tell you, you're always catching a glove and it's splitting open, right, Tom? And then you're like, oh, I've got to get another glove on, and you're sitting there fighting to get this other glove on. Your hand's soaking wet. So if those liners help that glove,
I have to say, those 8mm gloves, I've not had any of them rip on me.
They do pretty
all.
good. Yeah.
Okay.
They're not super cheap as far as being, ripping easily. So, I mean, I have ripped them before, but it's not very often. Even when I'm doing a cutout, it's whenever I've changed them off is because I've washed my hands up because I'm at a stopping point or something. And then I put a new pair on. But yeah, I don't generally rip them. So that's a good thing. The only thing I would be skeptical about is I like the dexterity of still having a really thin glove. And that's like the more you put something in there, the more you're just going to lose dexterity. And then I might as well just use my regular beekeeping gloves, that kind of slide up the arm. But I kind of like they're not super expensive, called Buckos. I think it is. The gal locally by us sells them, and I'll wear them from time to time, depending on what it is I'm doing. But more often than not, Melissa and I go through a lot of those disposable ones, just, a couple times a day or what have you. And they work just fine for us. But it's always kind of neat to see what everybody else uses, because it might turn you on to something that you might like a little bit better, Yeah.
Well,
So these are the gloves. These are the gloves that Grammy had the link for that she uses.
Okay.
They look a little thinner than some of those other gloves. So I'm like you, Tom. I want something when I've got those thin gloves on, because you really got to be able to feel what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
And with the thin gloves, you take your time about pulling that comb down, right? So you're saving more bees because you're not going to press that bee in because you're going to get stung, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to lose that feel when I'm doing that cutout.
Yeah. Yeah. When I'm reaching up into something blindly, I'm usually kind of inching my fingers up in there, and you can feel if you're starting to press on a bee and you can kind of move them around. They move out of the way pretty quickly,
And they'll vibrate a little bit to say, hey, you've got me here before they sting you. So.
That's right. Yeah, they usually do.
Well, I'm going to repeat what I said a little bit earlier since we got so many people on. I have switched shifts with a friend of mine at work, and I am currently going to work third shift for a month. And this will help him out with his situation. So I will be leaving here in about 30 minutes to go to work. I'm going to work third shift tonight. So the chat will still go on, and Tom and Melissa or whoever else comes on the chat, they'll shut it down whenever everybody's done. So just want to throw that back out there at you guys. And the Sidell trip that Tom and Melissa Lee and JW and all of us was going to be at, that also got canceled. So we will not be down there coming up. And then the last thing is that we may not be at the Bee Expo. We may end up being in Mexico and seeing Ruth's family, and that way that helps us later in the spring to go on vacation with my parents. So that's still not been nailed down, but we may end up, during Christmas, during that break down there. So, but I'll keep you guys updated and let you know. And I'll tell you what, I will miss everybody that comes to the Bee Expo. So hopefully, if you haven't been, you guys will go out there and try that. Because, man, that's an unbelievable place to be at. And discounts. So anyway, just want to let you guys know about that again and refresh everybody on what I said earlier on the show. So anyway, so how's everybody's bees? Has everybody got all their honey done? Tom, Melissa, did you get all that honey done that you guys had?
We did, actually. There's just a couple small little things that need to be cleaned up. But all in all, we are done. 95% of everything is already cleaned up. I'll have to go back in the drums and then skim the tops just again. And I'm going to move everything into 5-gallon buckets. So it's a little bit more manageable to take down into our bottling room that's in our basement. So
how much honey did you get?
It was just over 2,100 pounds.
So a little bit less than we did last year, because we had close to, I think, 2,400 pounds last year, and we had more production hives this year. But I think this might be a general consensus with everybody. Seemed like everybody's honey production was down a little bit this year because most places were experiencing a lot of rain during the nectar flows this spring, which is what our issue was. I will say that last year it got really hot and dry, and we had a pretty good nectar flow. The thing that we didn't have a good nectar flow on was our foraging crop, like a field forage type stuff. Because it got dry. Because I'm saying probably by the first week, maybe even by the beginning of June or the first week in June, everything was pretty much dried up. And that's not the case here this year. I'm still seeing a little bit of nectar coming in, not a lot, but I'm still, and they kind of backed off building comb, but they're being stimulated just a little bit. So, and that was just because of all the rain that we've kind of continued to have. It's settled down for about the last week on us, but they're still bringing in just a little bit. So
My bees are bringing in quite a lot of pollen and nectar still, Tom.
The pollen has been coming in like crazy. I actually took some footage to make a video with all the pollen that they were bringing in the other day. I couldn't believe how much pollen they were bringing in.
Yeah.
I think some of mine may be corn that they don't get much use out of, but they sure like to work it, so I've still got a lot of Dutch white clover in bloom, and the alfalfa. The farmers, when they can't, good thing about the rain, the farmers can't cut the alfalfa, and they get a little bloom on because farmers like to get the alfalfa cut before the bloom comes on. So
yeah,
one of our bee yards is right next to an alfalfa field,
and he actually just cut it the last couple of days. And he was about a week or a week and a half late on cutting it, his first cut this spring too. And he said something about it. I'm like, just let it go. I'm like, you can catch it in a couple of weeks. And he started laughing. He said, I know why you want me to stall on cutting it. He goes, but I need it to be cut just as the bloom starts to hit.
Yep.
But, funny thing is, I never see, JW, I have not seen any of our bees on it. When it starts to bloom, I don't know why. And I'm not sure if it's a different cultivar or what the scenario is, but I have not seen our bees working it. So I'm confused.
Do you know if it's a Roundup GMO?
I don't know, but I could find that out, and we can talk about
Roundup
it next
GMO. The bees won't work it if it's and a lot of guys plant it now because they can spray it without killing it. So
okay, so I'll say this: he doesn't spray anything on his fields. I know that for a fact.
Well, and it's not GMO, Roundup resistant, so to speak. So
I think you're probably right. I probably answered your question there, with what you just said. I am certain of that because him and I originally talked about that. He said, we don't spray anything. Now there's some soybeans that are across the way, and he can't claim to be an organic farmer because he's in too close a proximity to somebody that does spray. So he can't claim that, but he mainly raises sheep and cattle, and that's what his feed is. I think he has some Sudan grass in one field, and the other one is what we were just talking about. Just mind
So Morris has a question, guys. He says he has some honey at 18.4. Is that okay? And if I'm not mistaken, you guys tell me. It depends on what honey it is. Certain honeys can be okay at 18.4 and some cannot.
So the general rule of thumb is 18.5%. We like ours at between 17 and 17.5. But you're right, Ricky. It depends on the nectar source because different nectars, yeast will grow in them, and that's what causes it to ferment. Is the yeast growing will grow at different moisture levels in different nectar sources. So that's why we like ours to be lower between 17 and 17 and a half. That way we're a little bit better safeguarded that none of those yeasts are going to grow in whatever our nectar source is.
Yeah, I think it's the yeast counts.
Yeah.
How high of a yeast spore counts there are inside of it.
But if any book you read will tell you 18 and a half. So
To me, if you think it's too high and you're worried about it, if you have any type of bucket warmer, whether it be a warming band, a warming blanket, anything like that, if you can wrap that around your bucket and lay a towel over the top without the lid on,
Yeah.
that'll allow any of that extra moisture to pass through the towel without anything falling into your honey.
Yeah.
And
Right.
do that for a day or two, maybe give it a stir on the second morning, and it should bring it down almost to full point within about 2 to 3 days.
And that's what we did with when we did that bourbon barrel aged honey, because when it came out of those bourbon barrels, it was like 22% or something like that. So we put it in our bottling tank and just turned the heat up to like 100 degrees and left it open,
And
left
stirred
the
it.
lid off and stirred it over like 2 or 3 days, and it brought that moisture down
We also put a dehumidifier in that room too to bring it down.
a little bit faster.
Yeah, it'll help suck it out of the air, like Lee said.
I built me a little frame to go on top of my my heated bottling tank. I just attach a window frame or window fan to it, and let it blow down in it. Take the lid off, and I'll pull it at 18.5, and I can draw her down usually in a couple of days, and to in the low 17s at least. That's
Yeah.
what I do. I don't
Now,
worry about the percentage. If it's below 19, and if it's capped or uncapped, and I'm pulling, I'll go ahead and put it in there, and then and I don't have any trouble with it. I've never had any fermented ever, that I've sold folks before they used it. So I've got some honey from last year that still it hasn't crystallized or ever fermented.
Mm-hmm.
So
Now,
that's
Tom-
something. I'm sorry, Lee. Let me just throw this in. I did have some spring honey that measured 16% and was extremely thick. So don't think just because it's 16% that it's going to be, thin. Thinness does not equal the percentage of your honey, because some people may not check and say, "Oh, this is thick honey. It's good to go." Don't necessarily think that just because it's thick does not mean that it's dried out.
Yes.
So don't take that as you might want to test it, is what I'm trying to say. So go ahead,
Yeah.
Lee. I'm sorry.
I've had some that's been
Oh, we lost him.
It's a secret.
It was a secret.
It's a secret.
So Loma Vista Bees is talking here, says that lost 15 to 16 hives to ants. Has anybody ever had that problem?
Oh,
Wow. Well, let's see.
what kind of ants
can
do
you
you
hear me
have?
now?
Yeah,
Yep.
is that
Yeah, we
in
can-
Texas?
Yeah, Todd's got quite an ant problem out there. He's in Central California. I talked to him.
Oh,
Oh, that's right.
California.
Yeah, that's right. California.
Yeah. he's in
Now, I've had
California.
some that was uncapped and it was reading 17 and a quarter. Now, I've
Yeah.
had some that's capped before and it'd be 19 and a half.
Yep.
Mhm. Yep.
My bees aren't capping stuff good this year, like as well as normal. I don't know why, but they act. A lot of the old timers, not that I am one, but a lot of the really old timers say that it's all the rain's part that causing it. They're not. They're what is it? Their platelets, something that the rain affects their platelets on the bees, as I understand it.
So what
No, I mean-
happened there, Lee, man? Did Melissa got some kind of button to cut you off now?
I don't know. It's like StreamYard or Chrome One. It just said not responding and it kicked me out.
Hmm.
Wow.
Hey, Lee, should we talk about that new crop that's growing near my house?
That's what I was about to ask you, because I know in
Yeah.
the South, we kind of in a dearth down here right now. And I mean, you got new stuff growing up there.
Well, I'm just going to tell you, Missouri is going to be thrown on the map here pretty soon because of what I seen the other day. This is the one farmer that grows
Alfalfa.
those alfalfa fields for his feed, for his cattle and his sheep. And I happened to go in there the other day and I seen this as I was cutting some of the grass going down. Now there's that you can't see it, but there's a pond down and around the corner in my hives. There's, I don't know, maybe 40 of them down there. and I happened to notice this the other day. He's actually growing giant marshmallows. I mean, I know now how they're being made. And I was going to ask JW about this, if he has any marshmallows that are grown in his area, if they get that big.
Yeah, they usually don't stack them. They wrap them in a line.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Well, that's what
You
ours
know
look
what those
like.
are, obviously, do you not?
What's that?
I said, you surely obviously know what those are, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
No, he doesn't. He went over there and started licking them, JW.
They didn't taste very good though, and they didn't melt in my mouth either. I was kind of offended by it. Yeah, I told that farmer he's gonna have to do a little better next time because these don't taste that good.
Yeah.
No, they had just cut all those fields and
Well,
correct.
they've been sitting there for a few
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
see
yeah.
the grass scrump around, and they've been sitting there for a few weeks.
Yeah.
But when I seen it, I thought that was worth a comment. You know,
Yeah.
figured I asked JW about that.
That'd be a double dipped marshmallow, I'd say.
That's right. There is.
That'd be quite a honey high or sugar high if you eat all those.
Yes, it would. Hey, Jonathan Bennett, come on up. We're going to do some s'mores. We're going to get a big campfire going. We're going to set them on fire, buddy. Yep. We're going to do, man.
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot of chocolate
Oh,
bars.
yeah. Yeah, we'll have to go.
Well,
We'll have to go to Pennsylvania.
They do have cattle, so you know, cow patties.
Hey,
Tom, what was we talking about on the phone? Excuse me. What was we talking about on the phone? I've already forgot. We decided we was gonna maybe bring some of that up. You recall what we was talking about earlier this week?
man, I've had a long week, JW. Don't do this to me. You might have to refresh my memory. You're going to have to refresh my memory because I can't remember.
You
Honestly.
gotta put that lie, and that's what when you lie, you can't remember if you tell the truth. It's easy.
That's right. You're saying I should be a little more truthful, and then it'll be good, huh?
I hate to tell you this, but I've also forgot what we discussed at the time that we might bring it up on the chat, you know, and see what other people thought about what.
No, Doug. Yeah, now you're putting me on the spot here. Shoot. I'd have to think about it. They'll probably click in my head, but the wheels are turning slower this evening because I'm tired.
Ricky,
No,
what time do you have to get off?
Here in about 8 minutes, I guess. So I definitely got to be off by 9 o'clock. So.
Now, Tom, I did help you out here with those giant s'mores that you had there. I threw some chocolate on top of them.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
You
about.
man, Lee.
Can you put some graham crackers on the top of that?
I might be able
There
to.
it is.
You sure those are not cow patties like Melissa was talking about?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to let her try the first one. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
But since Ricky has to leave, Lee, maybe we should show that video that Tom
Yes.
Tom and I made.
That's
earlier
what I was
today.
looking at a minute ago. Let's see if I can
Is that
get
the
to it.
X-rated video?
It's
No,
definitely
it's
not
clean.
X-rated.
It's clean and it's good. It's G.
I'm
rated.
not
Melissa
seeing
said
it
she was
in
a
the
hot
drop.
mess. That's all I know.
I'm not seeing it in the Dropbox yet. Does it still say uploading?
No, let me see.
Uh-oh, she has her hands on an Android. She's going to feel
That's
the power.
that's the problem. Is I was sending it from an Android.
She doesn't know how to harness all that power, Lee.
It says it's there.
So everybody was in the chat was telling me about how much honey you got. So tell me if that's normal, your normal honey, or if that's something a little different. Because for us, we've actually got a little less honey than we normally get. So I'd be curious to see what everybody else says.
It shows that it's there, Lee.
I'll double check it.
Say that again, Ricky.
I said, I was asking, everybody in the chat was telling me how many pounds or gallons they had of honey. And now I'm asking everybody, is that what they normally get for their honey, or is it a low year? For me, it feels like it's just been a little bit on the low year.
Honestly, I think that's probably last year. I think we did 2,500 pounds, but This year we did 21, but we made splits almost like probably on almost all of our colonies. So I think even though we got less honey this year, if we wouldn't have made split things as hard as we did, we probably would have had a bigger honey crop this year than what we actually pulled. But I think that's because spring came early. I think we had a really, really heavy nectar flow early spring. And then, all that rain came and kind of messed everything else up, because even when we extract our honey, we separate all of our frames, light and dark. And we usually have a lot more dark honey than we do light. This year we had a lot more light honey than we did dark, which tells me we had much more early spring honey than we did, late spring, early summer honey.
Yeah, Morris saying they had more dark honey this year. It's interesting.
Well,
Russ got 800 pounds more. Man, that's a lot.
Where's my phone? Oh, it was on the charger right there.
Well, I guess maybe I'm the only one that didn't get a good honey crop this year. Because I know Keith did, because I was down there. He kept pulling honey off of his hives. I was jealous because we hadn't even got honey and he was already pulling his off. So, and Hope says she got 640 versus 480 in last year. So, yeah, maybe it was just us.
Yeah, I just got about 12 hives that I use for production, and I haven't got it all off yet, but I've already got about right at between 750 and 800 pounds on one pull, and I'll have another probably half. I should be around 1,200 on 10 production hives time I'm finished, I'm going to guess.
That's pretty good.
Normal, for this area.
That's
Spanky,
a pretty good haul.
Yeah, Spanky, did you get more honey this year? I mean, I think you did. Your bees, you had bees this year, I know, right? Is that your normal crop that you get?
I just got one box this year.
That's about normal for me. Yeah.
The other year, I was pulling like 4 or 5 boxes off the colony. So it's less this year.
I'm still not seeing that video.
You said you're not seeing it?
Mm-mm.
It's showing it's in there. It's showing it's uploaded all the way.
I got goldenrod out there blooming already.
You got some goldenrod blooming, Spanky? Wow.
Yes, I saw it out there.
I know the ironweed here has started blooming early. I've seen it. So I've got purple coming into the hives as pollen. And then there's something like Japanese vine or weed or something. It's got little white blooms on it. It gives a really clear honey, and it's getting ready to bloom. So kind of interested to see how that turns out.
Got a bunch of yellow jackets out there I got to deal with.
Regressing back to our conversation, you guys talk about what bees are working. I've still got several bees. I've got quite a lot of plantain and a lot of my old pasture fields, and they're working it pretty strong too. We used to call it buckhorn. It's a plantain and it's got a little head comes up, and they're working the crap out of it right now.
I do know that we've slowed down because the colony behind me, the observation hive, the comb has all turned, a light tan look. It's not a pretty white comb being built in it. So definitely tells me the flow is probably off here. And they're just whatever they're bringing in is just what they're using to store as resources. So.
The way I judge that in my area, I put out 2 or 3, I call them robin stations. I put out 2 or 3 some artificial pollen. I use the AP 23 from Day Dance, what I use, and I put out some sugar water just to check them. And my bees aren't working them yet. They work the little sugar water a little bit, and they haven't touched. I use it strictly to tell when the flow ends, and I've still got a pretty good flow, I'd say, just for that reason. They're not. They don't touch. They haven't touched the the pollen substitute at all, and they're really not working the one-to-one sugar water that I've got in bird feed. I put it in bird feeders. That's what I put it on. Leave it open, feeding for them, and they're not hardly working yet, even the sugar water. So they're getting a pretty good flow from someplace.
Yeah, Vincent's right here. He's got it right. The Japanese knotweed. Does anybody else have that? I mean, we get a really good, real clear honey from that. It's got a pretty good flavor. Anybody else got that?
I thought Japanese knotweed was dark honey.
Really?
That's what I thought.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're getting something else.
We got that invasive honeysuckle and everything around here.
Yeah.
Kudzu.
I'll have to look that up and see, Tom, now that you said that.
The only reason I'm saying that is because Troy Hall he's New Hampshire, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
He was at the Missouri State meeting last year, and I was chatting with him. He brought some, and I could have swore it was Japanese knotweed because he has a lot of it. I think it generally grows.
It's dark. It says it's dark.
That's what Shane
Okay,
says, yeah. Or Vincent says.
Yeah, very dark. That's what I thought. I see it around a little bit here and there. You mainly see it in areas that are really wet and moist, hold a lot of water, creek areas, drainage ditches, things like that, where it stays really moist. That's where I tend to see it before. Looks like honeydew. Yeah, so that'd be really dark then, for sure. I can't say that our bees ever really bring much of it in. I didn't particularly care for it. It wasn't horrible. But myself, I didn't particularly care for it that much. I do know some people really like it, though.
All right. Lee's got this video. Let's watch it before Ricky has to go.
Well, now, hold on. I want to preface this. I really wish Greg Burns was in here. So if anybody's got him on speed dial, and I should text him, anybody's got him on speed dial, Greg Burns needs to see this video. So
I've got him on speed dial. I can ring him up.
Hey, send him a text message and tell him to get on the chat in the next couple of minutes. We got something that he needs to see.
Well, we'll just have to watch it because Ricky's got to go. He's got to go to work.
What honey is light greenish tinge that looks like Mountain Dew? Russell, I think that's Mountain Dew.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's Sundrop.
Mellow yellow.
Mellow yellow. Could be any one of those three.
Hey, send me that video if he doesn't get on, and I'll send it to him.
Oh wait, the volume wasn't working. Hold on.
That's why he pulled it down.
Lee's in the background working his magic.
Yeah, he's trying to get it going.
Welcome to Via Honeybees, everybody. Today I want to talk to you guys about our operation. I want to talk to you about good queens, healthy colonies, and a good nectar flow to produce large crops of honey. Today I'm going to show you something that we've done. We weren't really going to brag too much on what it was that we do because we're really humble folks. But when Greg Burns from Nature's Image Farm pointed out his monster hive, we thought, in all fairness, we should talk a little bit about our mega monster hive right here. This is rolling in at 5 deeps and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 supers, right? I mean, we don't want to brag too much, but Greg, look, the genetics that we have inside these colonies, I think they speak for themselves here. I mean, let's actually dive into this. I mean, this is Missouri, for crying out loud, and the proof is in the pudding, right? This is the show me state. You all are saying, no, there's no way this colony is full of bees, right? But I wanted to stress to you how important it is to have great genetics in your colony. Much like our friend JW in Central Illinois has got a phenomenal raccoon breeding program.
JW.
They're cats that he's painting masks on. But nonetheless, he's breeding some really healthy stock there. And then again, our friend Greg Burns up in Ohio, northern part of Ohio, he's got his monster hive. But Sorry, Greg. I mean, I think this kind of speaks for itself. You know what? Let's just take a quick look into this. I know we need to really show if there's even any bees in this colony. Let's dive into this. Okay, we're going to pop the top on this. Let's see, I got to hand it to my assistant. So you all are going to say there's no way there's any bees in here. But oh my God, look at this. Look at the diverse genetics in here. I mean, all the colors that you see in here. I know when you're thinking there's no way that it's just in this one colony here. Wait a minute. Hold on, guys. And look at this. We already found the queen. Look at that girl. She is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, the diverse genetics that we have in here. Look, I'm just saying, guys.
Start handing me secrets. We'll show them how far down these bees go.
This goes down a lot. I mean, how far do we need to go here, you know?
Oh no, our bees are flying away.
Look,
Bees are flying away.
they're just piling out of these boxes.
Oh no, they're falling out.
Look, they're just falling out. Now, hold on.
Oh wait, there's the queen. Don't lose the queen. Hold on,
Don't
I got to
lose
be
the
careful
queen.
with this one. Careful.
We can keep going all day long.
I gotta say, Greg Burns has got
Let's
some
count those
competition.
brood
Let's
boxes.
do that.
Let's see if there's bees down in those brood boxes.
Let's do that.
Just smash the queen.
Queen just got crushed.
Oh,
Hold
will
on.
you look at that?
Oh my gosh. And this is doubly full of bees.
Bees, double bees in the brood boxes.
You know what, guys?
It's just crazy.
Do I need to keep going? Proof is in the pudding. Show me State, Missouri. We're able to build a huge honey crop. I'm going to leave you on a last note. You guys tell me, how much honey do you think that this colony is going to produce? Leave it in the comments.
That was awesome. Well done. Well done.
That was a poor
I don't
attempt
recall you.
last minute video.
I don't recall you giving you permission to use my name, young man. I may have to turn you into somebody in law enforcement. I don't know which way I'm going to go yet. With the Secret Service or the FBI.
Hey,
Yeah,
Tom, you was talking about a different JW in Illinois, huh?
I think
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
JW here automatically assumed it was from Soapstone Farm honeybees.
Yeah.
Better
He
watch
needs
out.
to quit making
Get them raccoons on you.
You got me madder than I ever been. I'm mad. I'm telling you, mad.
The queen.
Oh, boy.
Well, the queen was in the super because we didn't use our queen excluder.
Yep.
So I mean,
gotta use that excluder.
Man, I
That's
tell you.
some bad genetics. Ain't nothing in them boxes but bees. Ain't no honey.
See? Just nothing but bees. That's all it was.
I must say that video will go viral if you'll post it on YouTube.
I texted him. It showed it was delivered, so I don't know if he read it or not. His phone may be somewhere else, you know.
Yeah,
Well,
he
it's-
may be busy.
It's too bad he wasn't on here. And again, that was literally a poor attempt at a last minute video. Melissa and I finished that up about 15 minutes before 7. Rushed home to do that. I'm like,
Well, an update on the coon catching. I caught my 35th one this morning. 35th coon and 4th possum. I put out a little old deal on Facebook. Some pictures of it, but that's
Freedom PW trying to make a coon awesome.
Folks, I've got to jump out. So these guys will take care of everything. I want to say I appreciate you guys so much for the live chat tonight. I will catch you guys next Thursday, and these guys will finish up. And again, we appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much.
Good one, Ricky.
Tom and Melissa, that was a great video, by the way. So that made my night. I'm glad I got to stick around and see it. We'll see y'all later.
good night, Rick.
Be careful.
Guys.
yep, she's a good queen in that box. We're going to have to graft off her next year.
Graft offer. Yep.
I can't believe that Melissa had on the bee suit for those bees either.
So I had on the bee
And
suit.
gloves. Bee suit
Yeah.
and gloves for those bees. They must
No.
be terrible mean.
We'd actually just got back to the shop from doing that cutout, and I had just got done dumping the cutout bees into boxes. So that's why I had my jacket and gloves on. So I went straight from doing that to doing that video.
Sometimes those bees get mad when they've been inside of a 5-gallon bucket for a few hours or half the day long, and you go dump them out on top of the frames. They get a little bent out of shape sometimes, and they'll chase you. even a pretty mild colony will get a little upset.
That's what I found before. I mean, you do the cutout when you vacuuming them up. I mean, they're pretty calm. I mean, then they're in the vacuum; they can't mess with you. But when you go to let them out, yeah, they're a little bit aggravated. Then dump and run.
Well, you're gonna have to get it a little higher. I was out of Greg. It's 12 high. Larry Sears and I was aggravating him out there over the weekend.
Yep. Yeah, he gave you a little highlight yesterday. Took you out for ice cream and all.
Well, so I had to go back to the live from yesterday, the stream team, and look at that video that he had of him and Larry Sears and count how many boxes there had so that we can make sure that we stacked more boxes than what he had stacked on that picture.
Jonathan, I haul him about 8 miles. I've got some property in the river bottoms, and I've got it well saturated with the coon population now. I had a little interesting experience yesterday. I put out a little video on YouTube. I had a hive that swarmed and went over and bivouacked and left the bivouac and went back in the hive box. I don't think I've ever had that happen before.
I actually watched that video you put out.
It was just a little shorty.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes those get the best views.
Well, I don't keep track of views. I could care less. I just do it to aggravate mostly. Oh, she thought I was in Texas. Yeah. That's where I came from years ago, a few years back.
This week we have, what do we have to do this week? Go do an inspection and possibly another cutout.
Yeah.
This week. That's what's on our to-do list this next week.
Well, mine's stacked a little more full than that, but
I meant with the bees.
Yep, we have all of our treatments on. And,
yeah, we did that this week.
So I'm in a good position now.
You got all your restaurant reservations made for your eats for next week, or where you go each evening?
We're just gonna kind of wing it,
We're kind of fly by the seat of our pants,
Yeah, it depends on where I'm working at. That's where I stop.
What sounds good?
I mean, if you're saying you want to come up and take me out to a steak dinner, I'm just telling you I wouldn't say no. I mean,
I can provide my specialty.
What's that?
Bologna.
Raccoon?
Bologna.
Bologna.
That's what I live on, bologna.
My dad used to call that round steak.
Yep.
Now, JW, since that conference is canceled down here in Slidell, are you still coming down for fishing?
I may, if I come through there at all, I got to get with Jeff Warshaw if I want to go up there to that Abbey.
Mm-hmm.
And he invited me to come sometime. I may check with him. If not, I won't come to Coonhouse Country. I'll go straight to Georgia to do my fishing.
I think he's saying he's too good for that steak. He's
yes. What it sounded like.
I've been there, done that many times.
Now, as far as OA treatments there, Philip, the only ones that I've done so far are the hives that I'd already pulled honey on. I still got several hives that has honey on them that needs pulling, but I hadn't been able to get out there between work and all the rain that we get in here.
Mm-hmm.
So they canceled the Slidell conference due to lack of industry participation. Is that what it said, Lee?
That's right.
Correct.
I don't know what that means, but he had really good speakers lined up. I can't see that he wouldn't have sold tickets. I mean, I don't know.
I enjoyed it last year. He had a good turnout.
It was. There was about 200 people there last year, I think. Is what when we had
Greg
spoken.
just responded to me, said, when is it? I'll tell him it's too late. Just
He'll have to watch the rerun.
Yep.
Somebody needs to go through a clip and send a link to him.
But yes, they canceled the Slidell conference. But
That reads to me like they weren't going to have no sellers down there selling anything.
That's what I was thinking, because as far as regular attendees, I mean, from what I was hearing, they had a bunch of people coming.
yeah.
Now, he was trying to start that conference, I believe, in 2020, and that's when COVID and everything hit, and he had trouble and had to push back. So last year was the first actual year of it when he was able to do it, and I mean, it turned out nice.
I think so too. I was impressed by it.
Well, I wonder if some vendors are having a hard time. Like, there's so many of these popping up now, right? So I wonder if vendors are having a hard time. Like, do we go to this one? Do we go to that one? Do we go,
Yeah,
how far away is this one? How far away is that one? How many people are attending? Is it going to be worth, am I going to sell enough to justify going, I don't know.
Yeah, it says it was canceled due to industry participation. That sounds like the vendors to me.
So I will say this, if there's anybody close to Illinois, I think they're having it in Springfield, Illinois, November 8th and 9th, I think. That's what I have in my calendar. I don't know if that means I'm going down a day early. I think JW is going. There's their spring conference for the Illinois State Beekeepers is going to be in Springfield, Illinois, not Springfield, Missouri.
Yeah, it's their fall conference, and their main speaker, I think, is Bob Benny up there.
Okay.
And they've got some other good educational speakers. I can't remember offhand all the names.
Okay.
Jamie Ellis and Bob Benny are their main ones.
Yeah.
But so we went last year when it was in Quincy, Illinois, and it was a really good conference.
Yeah.
They did a really good job.
They actually did.
I was just texting Greg back on that. I told him he'd have to catch it on the rerun.
If anybody too is interested, in October 26th of a Saturday in Arnold, Missouri, which is just outside of St. Louis, the Missouri State Beekeepers Association is doing another, what they call it, a fall conference. I think they had about 250 at the one here in June,
Something like that.
and they're doing another one here in the fall to see what they can do with that. So
I think their keynote right now is Larry Connor.
Larry Connor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Melissa and I sat in on his talk or his
Nabi.
presentation at Nabi. I really like him. He's got some good information. He's been doing this for a very long time.
And then Tom and I will each be giving a talk also.
Actually, I got a voicemail. We got invited to give a third talk. So
Oh, we did.
we'll see.
Oh, yay. Talking. I don't know if Tom can do it. I don't know if he has it in him.
You said that's October 26th.
Let me double check again, so I don't speak
I
incorrectly.
just want to make sure I got the right one up here.
Missouri is the 26th, October 26th.
Yeah, that one in Illinois leaves the 8th and 9th of November, if I remember offhand correctly.
Yeah, that's what I have in my calendar too. JW is 8 and 9. Yeah.
So Philip asked about Hivorama. St. Louis guy, what's his name?
Johnny Murdoch.
Started Hivorama last year. It was a 1-day event, $100. They served you a box lunch, gave you a T-shirt. Had really good speakers: Dirt Rooster, Nathan Coleman, Corey Stevens, Justin Ruger.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was all they had last year.
Yeah, I believe.
But the speakers were great. But I think there was only like 25 people that attended.
I still say 30.
It wasn't 30.
It's 30.
It wasn't 30.
We'll
Tom
agree,
can't count.
we'll agree that I'm correct.
But anyway, the speakers were great. It was just, there was Jane from Isabee's, the local bee store, was the only vendor. And she didn't bring a ton of stuff because she has a store
It's
in
really
town. So I don't know that he's having a vendor show, so to speak, but this year he has the same speakers, plus somebody else.
Oh,
What
yeah.
was his name?
JW, help me out. We talked about this the other day on the phone. He was the guy from the University of
I don't know
Georgia.
that JW's on. He's got his thing.
I'm listening. I just shut my.
Oh,
I'm trying to text Greg
oh my
back.
gosh.
He's
I
got
can't
all
remember
kinds-
his name. He did a YouTube video with Bob Benny last year. I think it was, or earlier.
Oh, yeah. Lord, you ask a poor source because I can't remember names very well, but I know who you're talking about. Yes.
But Hyperama is the second weekend in August, the 9th and 10th, I think, or the 10th. But that's also the same weekend as Missouri State Fair, so Tom and I will not be there.
Dr. Lewis Bartlett.
Yep, Louis Bartlett.
Yeah.
I like listening to him on Bob Benny's channel. He's done
Yes,
he's done a few different.
It's not August 12th. That's a Monday.
That must be an old.
That must be last
right
year's.
there.
August 10th. The first post right there.
Yeah, right there.
There you go, August 10th. Yeah.
But Tom and I will be out of town that weekend at the Missouri State Fair in Sedalia, working the Missouri State Beekeepers booth. But the speakers are great.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're around and want to see that, go for it.
Corey gonna be.
Yep, Corey will be
Mhm.
there. Dirt Rooster, Nathan Coleman, Corey, Justin Ruger, and Bartlett.
Same ones they had last year, with the exception, I think, of Bartlett, maybe.
Correct.
You're correct, yes.
Yep. So, but yeah, the speakers were great. It was just, you
Mhm.
know, it was a small little workshop.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it.
And then ours is coming up in February. Well, the EMBA's, Eastern Missouri State Beekeepers
Yep,
Association.
that'll be the 8th, February 8th. And then we'll have a dinner the night before on the 7th. JW, you going to come up for that?
I don't know. You may have to send me money to get out there.
Well, you can come. I'm giving you a personal invite. You can be there, okay?
I'm gonna get back on here so I can defend myself.
Come on. There he is.
I just text Greg was wondering. I said he'd have to catch the rerun because I didn't know how to tell him to get to it. So I told him it was on the horizontal hive stream. So.
Yeah. Yeah, he's logged in. He's logged in a couple different times
Yeah.
Sure they're
in the past
studs.
couple weeks, I think.
Yeah.
You can knock on
So,
the
yeah.
wall and find where it doesn't sound hollow.
So what does everybody
And
else
make sure
have
they're level.
in store for the next coming week or so? I'm just curious how many people have not extracted yet and that still have to do it, and how many people have not done any mite checks and or treatments themselves.
I've extracted about 700 so far, and I figure I got that much left to go if there's any left by the time all this rain gets out of here.
Yeah.
Because I'm showing rain for the next 10 days straight.
Wow.
And it's been raining pretty much every day for like the last 10 days.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So if it gets to the point they hadn't been able to get out of the hive, so they're eating some of that. Well, I got some hives that don't have any supers on them right now because they've already been extracted. So worst comes to worst, if I can't get out there and do no open feeding on them because they're not flying in the rain, I'm going to have to pull some of those supers that are stacked up high on other hives and share them over to the other hive, the hives that are empty right now. That way they have something to survive on.
Yeah. Now, Lee, do you mainly run a single deep brood box and then mediums for your supers, or how do you organize that?
That's pretty much what I run, just a single deep on bottom and then mediums for my supers, but I don't run the queen excluders last year or this year. The only queen excluder I used last year was on a comb honey box.
Okay, yep.
But I did start buying stainless steel excluders this year, and I'll start using those next year.
Yeah. Basically what you're saying is after you've got some good drawn comb, you might implement them then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had ran them before, but I had the plastic excluders.
Okay.
And when the bees try to go through them plastic excluders, the edges, I guess, from the dye where they're formed, they got real sharp edges. And they would have a few go through there, but they really didn't want to mess with them that much.
Yeah.
So I went with the stainless.
I've gotten a couple of plastic queen excluders before, and I've just given them away. I've never used them, so I can't speak toward that directly. But every time I did look at them, I'm like, like you said, the edge of the plastic is not really sharp, but it's crisp.
Yeah. So,
and then, as opposed to the stainless steel ones that have round bars, that'll be really smooth for them to go through. It won't tear their wings up as bad.
Now I looked, and I mean, they had like the galvanized metal ones for like $12.95, just say $13. And the stainless steel ones were $20 a piece.
Okay.
I went ahead and went with the stainless steel because the galvanized, over time, it is going to end up rusting because you're going to get little cracks in it from prying it up. But at the same time, with it just being thinner galvanized metal, those bars will tend to bend a little bit easier too, and a queen's going to get through. Yeah. So I went with the stainless steel. They're stronger. They're not going to bend as easy, and I don't have to worry about them rusting.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to worry about when one does get old, bent up, and all that, having to buy another one anyway. Just go ahead and pay up front a couple extra dollars, and they'll last a lifetime for me.
Yeah. So I want to know what everybody does. I have a bunch of queen excluders, obviously 8 frame, because that's what Melissa and I run, that have a bunch of propolis and wax on them. What is everybody's go-to method to clean them, short of scraping them down? Because I am not going to hand scrape however many queen excluders there are, 60, 70. I'm not even sure how many I had that are dirty, but I've heard some people talk about boiling them in something, but I don't know if I have anything large enough, like a pot or something like that I can boil water in to put them in. So I'm just interested in people's homemade ideas of what it is that they, what it is that they use. Something to heat it up enough maybe to get it to melt off of there.
I use a heated pressure washer.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
That's what I use. You have to make a little something to, hold them to keep them from flying away, unless you want to stand on them and cut your toes off, with the pressure washer. But that's what I use.
I had my son Andrew power washing a handful of them, but they didn't come real clean. Yeah, I wanted them a little bit better than that, but I don't have a heated pressure washer.
Yeah, that's the secret, that you get that real hot water will, knock that propolis and stuff from.
Yeah, that's what I
over
need.
Just a standard pressure washer. You'll have to have a heated one if you're going to do much good, I think.
Yeah, you're definitely
That's
right.
what I use.
A big iron kettle, build a fire under it.
Yeah.
I need something like that. Something that's inexpensive. I don't want to spend a lot of money on it.
You
something
have to drive out. I'll loan you a kettle. I've got 4 or 5 of them.
You do, huh?
Cast iron. Yeah.
Would you just come by and pick them up and take care of them for me and bring them back when you're done? Then you can buy me dinner.
Rather not. No offense.
Well, polish them while you're at it.
I'd love to help. Excuse me. I'd rather, you got me. You should shook up. I'm having a heart attack, I think.
Well, I'm going to head out. I got to find something to eat.
All right. Have a good one, Spanky.
Yeah, Spanky, you take it easy.
I can't remember for the life of me what we were discussing. We thought that'd be a good subject to discuss it with the chatters.
Yep, I remember that part of the conversation, but we talked about a handful of things, and I can't remember specifically what. Yep, I remember saying that, but I can't remember now what it was. Well, on it. You're gonna have me thinking about it for half the night. As soon as I figure it out, probably midnight, I'm gonna text you and let you know what it was.
That's what I'll do too. Or about the time we stop this chat, I'll remember what it was. But
Yep, that's how it works, right?
There's an ideal right there, Tom. If you got, say, a wax smelter or whatever, like one of the solar melters, put them all in there and just let them drip out.
That's kind of what I need.
I don't know if they'll fit in our solar melters.
Well, no, they won't fit in ours that we have, but I'd have to make something, or I don't know.
I told him we need one of those lawn torches that you like burn your weeds
the weed
with.
burner.
Yeah.
I mean, that would work too. That would go fairly quickly.
Yeah. Well, I've got one of those you're welcome to borrow too, but I'm not bringing it to you.
Come on now. Lee, I'm just thinking if he was a friend of mine, he'd probably just run it down to me. And when he came down, then he'd probably get me some dinner too,
I'll show up one of these days when you least expect me. I'll be for sure on the mooch.
Yeah,
Well,
I think Tom was surprised the other night. Me and him got to joking around in text.
Yeah.
And something about what his house looks like.
Oh,
I
yeah.
started giving him details.
Lee stalked me, and I'm like, "You're looking at it online. I know you are." I was trying to think of at what point in time I put my address out there, and I'm like, he must have reverse searched me on the internet and found me.
He did video. Oh, what did they call it? The map.
Google Maps.
Yeah, Google Maps on you probably.
Yep. Yeah, he did.
It went to the satellite, looking down at you.
Mm-hmm. Well, the picture that he found was a picture from this year because I'm looking around the house going, "Hey, certain things that change in your house as the year goes along, And I'm looking at it, I'm like, that actually is from this year too. So they must have updated the image of my house this year.
I believe that was from May.
May.
I believe that's the date it had on it.
Yep, that sounds about right. Yeah, for sure.
Now, Philip was asking as far as the torch or whatever, would that mess with you galvanized? Depending on how close you get to it, how hot you get it. If you hold the torch back just enough to warm it up and melt the wax and everything off.
Yeah.
But if you get it too close, it may end up melting the galvanized too.
Could be a fine line of how much you heat it, I guess.
I wouldn't think that it would take very much though.
I like the idea of water
They
baths.
get awfully hot. Lee, mine does. I use it to torch my boxes.
Yeah, you'll just have to hold it a little bit further back.
Yeah. I mean, you can set a box on fire pretty easy with one of them. I had one that I didn't catch, and I went to put it on the hives, and I noticed one side of the box had been on fire. It was totally black. I don't know when it happened. It's wonder I had burnt the building down.
Trying to torch your box to protect them and kind of ruined it, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not sure the bees will stay in that box if it's on fire, JW.
I don't know either, but it sure is. I could take a picture of it. I'm using the box, but it was the outside of it where I'd torched it, and then I had wax dipped it too, and then didn't see it then till I went to put it on the hive.
Well, that's a good time to catch it, I guess.
It's just extra scorched.
Mm-hmm.
Sound like you and Dawson may be out of a job. Hey, Lee, before I forget it, I shouldn't do this on the air, but where was it you stayed last year at Nobby?
Hilton Inn. I think it was the Hilton. Yeah, Hilton Garden Inn, right there on the north side of the Expo property.
I think that was one hotel down from where we were at. because we stayed at, what was that called? The Fairfield.
Yeah.
We stayed at the Fairfield, which the parking lot backed up to this hotel parking lot. So the North American Honeybee Expo conference center, that backed up to where we were at, but there's a big fence that goes all the way around it. So you couldn't just walk in, because I would have just walked across the parking lot, every day until I needed my truck.
Well, see, like where I was staying in, some of the other hotels did it too. They had the little shuttles. So I just go downstairs, tell them I need a shuttle. They'd bring me right to the door of the expo. And when I was ready to go back, all I do is call the front desk of the hotel on my cell phone and tell them, hey, send a shuttle to so-and-so door at the hall. And they'd come pick me up and bring me right back.
Yeah, unfortunately, ours didn't do that. We stayed with
The Wins.
Jamie
and Brandy.
Brandy Wynn. And that was like one of the only places that had a refrigerator. And she needed a refrigerator for something. And so we wanted to stay with them. So we booked the same hotel that they did. And that's when we stayed. And that was actually pretty new. Tom Mack was there, and there was a handful of other people that were there. It wasn't the one where most everybody stayed at, which was the Crown. And it seemed like that one was under construction and had issues. So I'm kind of glad that I wasn't there.
They had a fire drill in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah, I showed cattle down there for years, and I got to stand at a place outside of town because the rates was half as much and it wasn't near as crowded. You get rooms anytime, because that North American International Livestock Show was a huge event. They use that whole facility, if you can believe that, as big as it is. So it's all full of cattle.
Well, when you drive around that building, there's a bunch of areas back there that you can tell that they hold livestock, I don't know.
Them outside, they keep them all inside them buildings. Them outside stalls that you're seeing back there's all horse stuff.
Oh, okay. I got you.
So Morris has a question, but according to Better Be, yes, you can use Formic with your supers on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's possible to do that. They say even with the new amendment or whatever paperwork for OA, you can treat with Super Zone.
Yeah.
Just personally myself, I'm not going to treat with a Super On unless something's just really bad. If I do a little mic check and they high, but if I still have the option of taking that super off, getting the bees out of taking super off and putting on another hive, or go ahead and extract it, then I would treat that colony without the super on.
Same.
Now, worst comes to worst, if it's late fall and say the mites are still a high, but the queen's doing decent, I might just run the bees out of that super, pull the super off to the side, do a treatment, and then put that super back on and let them live on that for the winter. So they'll have stores, but I don't have to worry about any treatment getting into the wax or anything like that.
Yeah. Same. We don't like to use any type of treatment when our supers are on, even if it's approved.
Yeah.
So Westcliff says Nabi has some hotels that have special rates. So I've looked at the rates before, and sometimes even when I use our hotels.com app, whatever you want to call it, sometimes the rates are better or exactly the same, and I get points. So I usually still just book through hotels.com. But
yeah.
You just talked about that. Is it Be Alive? I got my refund like the next day.
Yeah, same.
Tickets.
Yeah, I was surprised we got refunded so fast for that.
Yeah, me also.
Yeah, you would figure it might take as much as a week or something to get a refund on something, right? But they were good about it. So you have to respect the decision they made. I'm sure it was for the betterment of their operation. So if they didn't have anybody there, it would have been a poor conference and everybody would have complained about it. So you got to know when to call it, I guess, So, hey, speaking of which, I think we're actually going to call it a night here too. I still might try to get down to the lake here this evening. So we have a few things to try to wrap up here at our house. So, yep, that's pretty easy. It's only 3 days. That's an easy pack, a duffel bag and a couple pair of shorts, and I'm good to go.
There you go.
So
All right. Well, we appreciate everybody coming in again and spending time with us and enjoying the chat.
that's right.
And we'll catch y'all on the next one.
See y'all next Thursday.
See ya.
Night,
Thanks for
y'all.
joining us.
Have a good night.